Marcus Rashford has been on an absolute tear since the World Cup has ended. He has 10 goals and 2 assists in 10 games, but what's even more impressive is his minutes per goal contribution, which is 1 in every 63 minutes. So the question is, why is Rashford the most informed player in Europe right now? And is it all down to his form, or does Ten Hag deserve some credit for unlocking him? In this video, we'll analyze some of his best goals and assists from the 10-game spell to answer this question. But first, please drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. We're going to start by looking at his 2 assists because I think they're more rare coming from someone like Rashford. Here, we have his assist versus Nottingham Forest in the Premier League, and we see Rashford getting the ball over the top from Bruno, and he's already beaten the right back in this situation who's trying to recover by getting back to the edge of the box. As Rashford dribbles forward, notice how all 4 Forest defenders are sprinting towards their goal, trying to get there ahead of any United forwards that can get there. I think it's Antony in this area that's trying to get to the edge of the box. Rashford does a Ronaldo chop to bring the ball inside and plays a simple pass to Anthony Martial, who's in tons of space because of the work that Rashford has done so far. Martial then gets a clear shot on goal that he does shoot with not a lot of power, and the goalkeeper makes a mess, goes into the net. For all United fans that are watching, just ask yourself this. How many times has Rashford picked up the ball in these areas and made the wrong decision or lost the ball in moments like these? I can remember countless situations over the last 2 years where he has shot instead of passing and passed instead of shooting. But in this situation, he made the perfect decision and it resulted in a goal for United. I think his decision making has improved massively, and this is a perfect example of that, where he keeps it simple and does what's required. Next, we look at his assist versus Everton in the FA Cup. We see Martial picking up the ball in midfield and playing it out to Rashford. As Rashford dribbles towards the box, we see that he's marked by Ben Godfrey, who is a really fast defender. Similar to the assist versus Forest for Martial, all Everton players in this scenario are running towards their own box. So he can easily do a Ronaldo chop to make some space in this area here and either find a pass infield or cross it into the box or go for a shot himself. He takes the harder route by going on the outside, finds a yard on Godfrey, and plays the ball across Pickford to the back post, making it a easy tap in for Antony. Again, I think this is more evidence of Rashford getting his head up and making the right decision every time, which is massive progress compared to what we've seen in the previous 2 seasons. His composure has improved massively, and while he deserves most of the credit for this, I think Ten Hag definitely needs some praise as well. We now get to his goals, and I've picked out 4 specific goals that tell us a lot about Rashford's form this season. We start with his goal versus Nottingham Forest in the Carabao Cup semi-final. We see Casemiro has the ball at the edge of the box and he's ready to play it out to Rashford. Rashford picks up the ball in his own half and sees 2 Forest defenders guarding him. As he dribbles towards goal, let's analyze what these 2 defenders are trying to do. The center back in red is trying to jockey Rashford towards the byline to force him to do something on his weaker left foot, and the defender in green is trying to stop Rashford from cutting inside early to get to the edge of the box and do something from there. As we play forward, Rashford ends up finding the perfect opportunity to push the ball in between these 2 defenders to get to the edge of the box. With both defenders out of his way, he has space in the box to run into, but he has to get the shot off before these 2 players get there to cut off the space. And that's exactly what he does. He gets in the box and scores with his left foot, and he's off to celebrate. In the last 2 seasons, when he's been hot and cold, he would just lose the ball in an area like this, and the opposition would get onto a counterattack. Yes, in this situation, he gets a little lucky, but he creates that luck by getting his angles and timing perfectly right. Credit has to go to Ten Hag for putting him in the right mental state, and of course, Rashford for executing on Ten Hag's tactics. Next, we look at his goal versus Burnley in the Carabao Cup round of 16. Rashford picks up the ball in his own half thanks to a tackle by McTominay. He dribbles forward to get into a space where he's defended by 3 Burnley players, and we're going to pause it in a second here. Right here, all 3 defenders are trying to cover 3 different spaces to stop Rashford from doing anything dangerous. He ultimately decides to dribble in between the 3 players and get into this spot here. What I want you guys to notice here is that Martial has made a movement to vacate his position from here to run on the outside, and this puts this defender in particular in trouble, as we'll see in a second. Right here, The center back is not sure whether to go with Martial to cover him or to help out Rashford in this spot here. He eventually ends up doing neither. Rashford beats his defenders and gets into massive space inside the box. He utilizes that space to shoot from a tight angle and ends up scoring a wonderful, wonderful goal. There's absolutely no chance for the keeper to save that. While it's nice skill from Rashford to find space and score from a tight angle, the movement of Martial ultimately impacts the players that are defending Rashford and helps him score the goal. So in this scenario, Rashford deserves most of the credit, but again, his teammate doing the right thing has helped him in this scenario. Next, we're going to look at the winning goal he scored versus Wolves away from home. And United fans will know the importance of this goal because Wolves are our bogey team and we always find it difficult to play against them, especially at the Molineux Stadium. We see Malacia receiving the ball and passing it out to Rashford on the wing, and Rashford from this situation has at least 3 Wolves players to beat if he wants to score. As we play further, we see Malacia making a really important contribution here as he makes a dummy run on the outside of Rashford that forces the right back of Wolves to go with him. And this creates extra space for Rashford to run into. Rashford runs into that space and lays it off to Bruno and then decides to make a run into the box. Now, another important thing to notice here is the mistake made by the center back. He tries to push Bruno to win the ball back, but what ends up happening is he leaves a little extra room for Rashford to run into. So as we play it here, we'll see Bruno pass the ball into Rashford's feet, and Rashford actually wins the ball because the Wolves center back is in a bad position. Rashford's also on the wrong side of the right back, and he's found himself in some space. Now he can shoot from this angle here, but he realizes that the second Wolves center back is coming across to cut off the angle, and maybe he can slide and stop the ball from going in. So what Rashford does is he takes an extra touch and nutmegs the goalkeeper to score the goal. What an amazing show of composure inside the box from Rashford. I mean, I can't remember many times he's done this before in the previous seasons. But while Rashford deserves massive credit for this goal, it simply does not happen without the involvement of Malacia or Bruno. So credit again in this scenario goes to the teammates and Erik Ten Hag for having everyone on the same level. And finally, we come to the final goal of this video, which is the first goal that Rashford scored versus Charlton in the Carabao Cup quarterfinals. You see Casemiro picks up the ball in midfield and assesses the options right in front of him. He then plays a nice ball to the right wing to find Pellistri, and Pellistri notices that it's a 3v2 situation for United in attack. As we play forward, we see the Charlton center back recognize Rashford as a threat on his left side, and he also knows that his right back's already been beaten. Pellistri then proceeds to dribble on the inside while McTominay gets ready for a decoy run on the outside. Now the right-sided center back, which is the same one that was looking at Rashford a second ago, decides to position himself more towards McTominay in order to stop the threat on the wing. But this is a big mistake because Rashford and McTominay now have massive spaces in front of both of them, and this makes it very easy for Pellistri to find a pass into Rashford's path. And as he plays that pass, we see that Rashford picks up the ball in an area where he's already in front of all 3 Charlton defenders, and this might as well be a goal from here. But Rashford proceeds to bundle the ball into the goal somehow, some way, and goes off to celebrate. Again, in this situation, I want you guys to appreciate the role of McTominay and Pellistri, because if they don't make those 2 diagonal runs, Rashford doesn't find himself in space inside the box. Credit has to go to Erik Ten Hag as well, because player movement in counterattacking situations is something that the manager has massive influence over. This also shows that when the team is playing well, when everyone's doing their role, it's much easier for any single player to be in good form. And this was simply not the case for the last 2 seasons. As a bonus, we have a clip from the FA Cup game versus Everton where Rashford forces an own goal from Connor Cody. Rashford picks up the ball on the wing while being defended by Seamus Coleman, and as he dribbles toward goal, you can see there's another Everton defender that's doubling up on him. As he moves towards the byline, there's some space inside the box, but there are 3 Everton defenders for Rashford to get past. He feints to move inside, which puts Seamus Coleman off balance, but also crucially makes this defender move towards the inside to cut off this angle for Rashford. This creates even more space for Rashford when he goes back to the byline and creates a clear line for him to cross the ball into the box. He puts that dangerous ball into the box. Connor Cody unfortunately sticks out a leg and scores a world-class own goal. Now this is probably my favorite contribution of Rashford since the World Cup, because he creates this goal completely by himself, but he doesn't get a goal or an assist. So, your pundits might miss this one when they're talking about it. The way he moved inside the box was Mbappe-esque, and he made it look very, very easy. I've never seen him create a goal like this, and seasons gone by, he would have just cut inside to the edge of the box and tried to shoot. I think Rashford is looking absolutely world-class at the moment. Let me know if you guys agree in the comments down below. Now, some of you might be wondering why I left out the Arsenal and Man City goals from Rashford. The Arsenal one, because I already analyzed it in my last video, so go check that out. Link in the description below. The winning goal versus City was also a crucial one for Man United, but it was just a tap-in, so I didn't want to include it here. Still, I think the 4 goals, 2 assists, and 1 forced own goal that I've analyzed here is sufficient to give you an idea of the insane form he's in this season. I have no doubt in my mind that Rashford is the most informed player in Europe at the moment. Let me know in the comments down below if you agree with me or you think I'm wrong. Please drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel to watch more videos like this one. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.